Hey everyone, welcome to this explainer. Today we're unpacking the sudden collapse of a major gold IRA company and exactly what it means for conservative savers. Look, protecting your hard-earned retirement savings is a top priority for so many of us, especially with how uncertain the economy feels lately. But what actually happens when the very institution claiming to protect your wealth just vanishes? Well, we are going to meticulously break down the public records, customer reports, and official ratings surrounding Colonial Metals Group to give you a really clear, completely objective look at this developing situation.
Okay, so let's just get right into the biggest question of all. What happens to your retirement savings when the dealer you trusted completely stops answering the phone? Because when you invest in a gold IRA, you're participating in a very specific financial process, right? Your funds are usually moved from a traditional IRA or a 401k over to a self-directed custodian, and then they pay the dealer to ship physical precious metals to an IRS-approved depository. It literally relies entirely on a chain of trust. But according to recent industry reports and just a massive wave of public filings, that chain broke down completely for the customers of this particular company.
Here is our agenda for today's explainer. First up, the Colonial Metals Group story. Then we'll get into the F rating explained, cover some real customer experiences, talk through action steps for victims, and wrap up with protecting your retirement savings.
All right, Section 1, the Colonial Metals Group story, from rapid rise to sudden collapse.
It's crazy just how fast things fell apart here. I mean, in less than 3 years, Colonial Metals Group went from a highly visible startup to a completely blacklisted entity. They were founded in Miami, Florida back in 2022 by CEO Paul Stone and spent those first 2 years really aggressively building up their brand. They leaned hard on endorsements across conservative media platforms. We're talking figures like Larry Kudlow and Jeanine Pirro, basically to build instant trust with retirement-age savers. But then, mid-2025 hits and a severe pattern starts emerging. Customers are reporting that their purchased metals were just never delivered. The situation escalated so fast that their primary custodian, Equity Trust Company, officially severed ties with them, and by late 2025, the Better Business Bureau stepped in.
Moving to Section 2, the F rating explained, a sentence, not a grade.
Now, it's super easy to hear an F grade and just assume, oh, a company made a few shipping errors, right? But the absolutely crucial point here is this number, 12. Out of 14 official Better Business Bureau complaints filed by devastated customers, exactly 12 were completely ignored by Colonial Metals Group. They didn't offer an excuse, they didn't offer a refund, they didn't even offer a delayed timeline. They just offered total silence.
And as independent researchers have noted, an F rating isn't always about making mistakes. Sometimes it's about a deliberate failure to respond to escalated disputes, literally leaving customers totally stranded. You see, the BBB weighs complaint volume and seriousness for sure, but the heaviest metric of all is response behavior. Answering a complaint takes minutes. Choosing not to answer 12 times in a row when hundreds of thousands of dollars are on the line, that is not an administrative oversight. 12 silences is a company policy. It's a documented refusal to engage with the very people who trusted them with their life savings.
Let's go to Section 3, real customer experiences, the human cost of missing metals.
Honestly, before we even talk about the missing metals, we've got to talk about these staggering markups. According to one formal complaint, a customer was charged $7,192 per ounce of gold at a time when the actual market spot price, like the raw melt value of the metal, was only $3,320. That is paying more than double the actual value. Standard industry markups for bullion usually sit around 5%, right? But Colonial Metals Group was allegedly charging premiums of over 116%. Selling heavily marked up coins to novices who are just relying on the dealer's expertise? Well, that's precisely the behavior federal regulators like the CFTC look for when investigating precious metals fraud.
And this is where it gets absolutely heartbreaking. We found an actual Trustpilot review that grounds all this financial data in the very tragic reality of an elderly saver basically losing a massive portion of their life's work. A family reported that their 88-year-old father was just bombarded with calls, emails, and false promises. He ended up sending checks totaling $125,000 in mid-2025. And once the money was in their hands, the company went totally dark. Phone lines were disconnected, and the physical gold was just never deposited into his account.
Unfortunately, that wasn't a one-off. Here is another verified review showing the exact same systemic failure. A senior citizen wrote that their $40,000 check was cashed, and then, boom, all communication ceased. The funds completely cleared the bank, but the precious metals simply never arrived at the designated depository. This isn't just an isolated shipping error. The public record shows a deeply concerning repetitive cycle where capital is extracted and the product is just never delivered.
So, summarizing the public records, we're basically looking at a consistent nightmare scenario. We have severe overcharging for those who did get their metals, outright non-delivery for those who bought later in 2025, staggering individual financial losses, some reaching up to 300 grand, and a complete communication blackout. And to make matters even more confusing for these victims, some customers received letters claiming that a law firm named Hitzke and Ferran was purportedly taking over operations. But guess what? Victims report that this firm has also been entirely unresponsive to their pleas for answers.
Okay, Section 4, Action Steps for Victims. How to report losses and seek recovery.
If you, or maybe someone you know, is caught up in this situation, you have to take immediate action. First, you need to assemble your file. Gather every single order confirmation, wire receipt, and email you have. Second, file a formal BBB complaint on their profile. Even if it goes completely unanswered, it builds the public case against them. Third, contact the Florida Attorney General's Consumer Protection Division, since the company is based in West Palm Beach. And finally, and this is definitely the most important step for IRA transactions, file federal complaints with the Commodity Futures Trading Commission at cftc.gov and submit a cybercrime report to the FBI's Internet Crime Complaint Center, known as IC3. Also, if your IRA metals were never delivered, call your custodian's compliance desk literally right now.
Finally, Section 5. Protecting your retirement savings. Safe paths forward in precious metals. Consider this your ultimate due diligence checklist. You absolutely have to weigh the red flags that define Colonial Metals Group against the safe practices you must demand as a consumer. Red flags include a track record of less than 3 years, undisclosed pricing allowing for massive markups, relying on flashy celebrity endorsements, and vague delivery timelines. On the flip side, always look for 10+ years of verified operational history. Demand transparent and flat-rate fee schedules, an education-first approach with top-tier accredited Better Business Bureau ratings, and most importantly, guaranteed insured delivery directly to an IRS-approved depository.
Which really brings us to our final vital question today. How do you actually safely take action to protect your hard-earned wealth from inflation without risking it all on unverified companies? Look, the precious metals market is incredibly alluring right now, for sure. But as we've seen today, skipping your due diligence can have catastrophic consequences for your financial future.
We want to empower you with objective education so you don't fall into these traps. You do not have to navigate this whole process alone, and you certainly shouldn't have to rely on high-pressure sales tactics. Please take a second right now to look in the description below this explainer to claim your free Gold IRA guide specifically made for serious retirees. It's going to teach you exactly how to compare fees, properly verify a company's history, and secure your retirement safely. So, I leave you with this thought. Are you going to leave your financial security to chance and flashy marketing? Or are you going to take control with verified, transparent education? Check out the link below and take your first step toward true financial security today.